In the village of Ahmoha, snakes are sacred protectors, and killing one is considered the gravest sin. But when Nkechi, a stranger unaware of the village's ancient laws, strikes a snake to protect herself, the villagers demand blood. Will divine wrath fall, or is mercy possible? Join Frankie Stories as we follow Nkechi and Chinedu in a suspenseful journey of tradition, fear, courage, and the power of questioning what we think we know about the gods. Chinedu. Are you sure this village is safe? Nkechi whispered, tying her wrapper tighter as the lantern flickered. Chinedu laughed softly. Ahmoha is safer than Lagos traffic. Relax. My mother will be happy you're here. Before he could say more, a sharp hiss sliced through the quiet kitchen. What was that? Nkechi froze. Chinedu frowned. Probably rats. Let me check. The hiss came again, closer. Nkechi screamed. Chinedu, something is moving. She grabbed the broom instinctively. From behind the clay pot, a thick brown snake rose, its tongue flicking. Jesus! Nkechi shouted. Snake! Nkechi, wait! Chinedu rushed forward, but fear moved faster than words. She struck. Once. Twice. The snake thrashed, then lay still. Silence swallowed the room. Chinedu stared at the lifeless snake, his face draining of color. What have you done? I saved us. Nkechi said, breathing hard. It was going to attack. Outside, footsteps rushed toward the house. Who killed it? An old woman's voice cried. The door burst open. Villagers crowded in, gasping. Ancestor forbid. Elder Okori whispered. My child, another woman said, pointing at Nkechi, do you know what you've done? The chief priest stepped forward slowly. You have killed a sacred protector. The lantern went out. Darkness fell. What do you mean sacred? Nkechi's voice trembled as the villagers closed in. It was a snake. It could have killed someone. Chief priest Agbala lifted his staff. That snake was not ordinary. It was sent by our ancestors to guard this household. Chinedu grabbed his mother's wrapper. Mama, please explain to her. She doesn't know our ways. His mother, Ugochi, shook her head, tears streaming. My son, ignorance does not wash away abomination. Elder Okori bent down, examining the snake. This is the third moon cycle. Killing it invites drought, sickness, even death. Nkechi's knees weakened. Chinedu, you never told me any of this. I wanted to, he whispered desperately. I forgot. Please, elders, punish me instead. A murmur spread through the crowd. She's the stranger, a young man spat. The blood must answer the crime. Two guards stepped forward. Take her, the chief priest commanded. Nkechi screamed as they seized her arms. Chinedu. Don't let them. Chinedu lunged, but was held back. I beg you. She is my fiancée. She meant no harm. Chief priest Agbala's eyes were cold. The gods do not accept excuses. At dawn, she will be judged. They dragged Nkechi toward the shrine. Her voice echoed through the night. If your gods are just, they will know my heart. Chinedu collapsed to the ground, fists clenched. By morning, the village would demand blood. And the ancestors would be watching. The shrine smelled of old incense and damp earth. Nkechi sat on the cold floor, wrists bound with raffia, her eyes swollen from crying. Please, she whispered to the young guard outside, I didn't know. I would never insult your gods. The guard, Emeka, avoided her eyes. It is not my place to judge, he muttered. Dawn decides. Drums sounded faintly in the distance, slow, heavy, unforgiving. At Chinedu's family compound, elders argued under the moonlight. She must die before the sun rises, Elder Okori insisted. Delay brings disaster. Chinedu stepped forward, shaking. If you kill her, you kill me with her. I will leave Ahmoha forever. A hush fell. Chief Priest Agbala spoke quietly. Then perhaps that is the price. Chinedu's mother gasped. Agbala, she is innocent. Innocence does not erase broken laws, the priest replied. Later that night, Chinedu crept toward the shrine, heart pounding. He spotted Emeka pacing. Emeka, Chinedu whispered urgently, help me. She doesn't deserve this. Emeka swallowed hard. If I help you, I betray my ancestors. And if you don't, Chinedu replied, you betray your humanity. Silence stretched. Finally, Emeka looked away. You have until the third drumbeat. Chinedu's hands trembled as he untied Nkechi. We are leaving, he whispered. Now? Nkechi clung to him. Chinedu, they'll kill you. Then we run faster, he said. As the drums thundered louder, two shadows slipped into the forest. Behind them, Ahmoha slept, unaware that tradition had just been defied. Branches lashed their faces as they ran. Nkechi struggled to keep up, her breath ragged. Slow down, she gasped. I can't feel my legs. Chinedu stopped briefly, gripping her hands. Listen to me. Once we reach the old footpath, we are safe. A twig snapped behind them. They are following us, Nkechi whispered in panic. No, Chinedu said, though fear betrayed his voice. The forest hides those it chooses. An owl hooted. Somewhere far off, a drumbeat echoed, angrier now. They plunged deeper into the forest, guided only by moonlight. Suddenly, Nkechi stumbled. Chinedu, she cried, falling. He pulled her up. Don't look back. But your people, your gods, what if they curse you? Chinedu paused. If a god demands your blood for ignorance, then that god and I have nothing to discuss. They reached the footpath, just as torchlights appeared in the distance. Elder Okori's voice rang out. Find them. Before the ancestors awaken. Nkechi squeezed Chinedu's hand. I'm sorry. I've ruined your home. He shook his head fiercely. No. You've shown me something my people refuse to see. They vanished onto the path leading to the highway. Behind them, Ahmoha's shrine stood silent. The snake's blood had dried. And the ancestors said nothing. Morning broke in Ahmoha with uneasy silence. The elders gathered beneath the aqua tree, eyes fixed on the sky. The sun rose too calmly, Elder Okori muttered. That is never a good sign. Chief Priest Agbala sprinkled white chalk on the ground. By now, the gods should have spoken. Women whispered among themselves. No thunder, one said. No sickness, another replied. A young farmer, Ifunanya, ran into the square shouting, my crops, they are greener than yesterday. The elders stiffened. That is impossible, Agbala snapped. After such an abomination. Rain clouds rolled in gently, releasing a soft, steady rain. People stared in disbelief. This rain, Mama Ugochi whispered. It smells like blessing. Agbala retreated into the shrine, fasting for 3 days. On the 4th, he emerged, eyes hollow. The ancestors came to me, he announced. The crowd leaned in. They said the stranger acted in ignorance, not defiance. Mercy was shown. A gasp rippled through Ahmoha. So the gods did not want her blood, a young man asked. Agbala hesitated. The gods questioned our understanding of their will. Far away, in the city, Nkechi watched rain streak down a bus window. "Do you think they are suffering because of me?" she asked quietly. Chinedu shook his head. "No. For the first time, they might be learning." And in Ahmoha, tradition trembled, not with anger, but doubt. The village square buzzed with uneasy conversations. "If the gods can show mercy," Ifunanya said, voice steady, "then why must we blindly follow laws that almost killed a stranger?" Elder Okori slammed his fist. "Do you question centuries of tradition?" "I question fear disguised as tradition," Zainab replied. Her eyes blazed in the torchlight. "We cannot know the mind of the gods if we kill first and ask later." Agbala, standing beside them, cleared his throat. "Perhaps the ancestors intended for us to learn something from Nkechi's act, a lesson, not vengeance." A murmur ran through the square. Some elders turned away, unable to face the challenge. Others, mostly young adults, exchanged nods. Change was stirring. Later that night, Ifunanya and Zainab sat by the river, speaking softly. "Do you think the villagers will ever truly accept that?" Ifunanya asked, tossing a pebble into the water. "Not all," Zainab said. "But some will. And that's enough for the seed to grow." Meanwhile, far away, Chinedu and Nkechi looked at the stars from their small balcony. "The world doesn't have to end with fear," Nkechi said. Chinedu smiled. "Sometimes, surviving it is enough to teach others." And in Ahmoha, the night carried whispers of change, fragile but alive, rustling through the trees where once only obedience reigned. Morning in Ahmoha was different. The market hummed with a cautious energy. Vendors sold yams and peppers, but conversations no longer trembled with fear of ancestral wrath. "If the gods forgave her," one young man said to another, "then maybe they forgive us questioning old rules." Elder Okori, observing from his veranda, shook his head. "It is not proper. Tradition is the backbone of this village." "But tradition can be broken by wisdom," Agbala countered quietly. "If wisdom tells us that fear should not dictate our every action, then we must listen." At the riverbank, youths experimented with small rituals, no longer demanding blood sacrifices. They lit incense, poured libations, and offered prayers for guidance, not punishment. "If only more would see it this way," Zainab whispered to Ifunanya. "The gods are merciful, yes, but mercy must teach, not terrify." Meanwhile, far away, Chinedu tended a small garden alongside Nkechi. "You know," Nkechi said, plucking herbs, "sometimes I wonder if the village will ever truly change." Chinedu smiled, brushing dirt from his hands. "Maybe they don't have to. Maybe just questioning is enough for now." Back in Ahmoha, the gentle breeze stirred the trees, rustling the leaves like whispers. And in those whispers, the voices of the younger generation carried a quiet rebellion against unquestioned fear. A new era was beginning, subtle but inevitable. Months passed, and Ahmoha began to heal, not just its crops and rivers, but its spirit. The villagers noticed that rain fell at the right time, harvests were plentiful, and sicknesses were rare. "If the gods were angry, we would know it by now," Ifunanya said, watching the green fields sway in the wind. Chief Priest Agbala nodded slowly. "The ancestors did not punish because mercy is a lesson too. Sometimes it teaches more than fear ever could." Elder Okori, though still wary, gathered his grandchildren. "Remember Nkechi's story," he said softly. "Not as a warning of wrath, but as a lesson in understanding. Sometimes, ignorance is not malice." In the city, Chinedu and Nkechi hosted visitors from neighboring towns. They shared their story openly, speaking about courage, mercy, and the dangers of blind tradition. "I still feel their eyes on me sometimes," Nkechi admitted to Chinedu one evening. "But I also feel free. Free to live without fear of a god punishing me for what I did not know." Chinedu held her hands firmly. And because of your survival, Ahmoha has a chance to learn as well. Mercy has a voice now, and it is louder than fear. Back in the village, the youth continued to meet at the river in secret. They laughed, debated, and experimented with new ways of honoring the ancestors, rituals without death, prayers without terror. The snake's death had sparked doubt, and doubt had blossomed into understanding. Ahmoha was no longer just a village of fear, it was a village learning to listen. The sun rose over Ahmoha, spilling gold across the river that had once been a place of fear. Children ran along its banks, laughing as they splashed water onto each other. The elders watched silently, some with furrowed brows, others with a hesitant smile. If the gods allowed mercy, Zainab whispered to Ifunanya, then perhaps they wanted us to grow, not tremble. Agbala stood nearby, staff in hand. The gods do not demand blind obedience, he said quietly. They demand understanding. And perhaps now, we are beginning to understand. In the city, Chinedu and Nkechi walked through the bustling streets, hand in hand. We survived the fear, Nkechi said, her eyes bright. And we carry our own kind of wisdom. Chinedu smiled. And maybe someday, Ahmoha will understand it too. Not everyone, not immediately, but some will. Back in the village, young and old alike gathered for the annual planting festival. No one spoke of snakes or blood. Instead, they danced around the fields, poured water into the soil, and sang songs of life and abundance. Elder Okori watched the younger generation, nodding slowly. Perhaps the gods have more than one way of teaching, he muttered. The river shimmered in the sunlight, as if acknowledging the change. And though the past could not be erased, the future stretched wide and open. Ahmoha had learned that beauty, mercy, and courage could speak louder than fear. And in that lesson, the village found its new dawn. Thank you for watching Frankie Stories. Please give us a like, comment and subscribe. Until next time, we love you.